Pionius, bishop of the church at Smyrna, nailed to a piece of wood and burned alive in the city of Smyrna for the testimony of Jesus Christ, A.D. 254. Mention is made in this time of a certain pious Christian called Pionius, a man greatly noted on account of his remarkable virtue, who always stood fearlessly before the judges, and, as Eusebius declares, steadfastly replied to all their questions, yea, taught and disputed in the court, so that those who wavered on account of the persecution were thereby strengthened and encouraged. While in prison he strengthened the brethren, and encouraged them to fight steadfastly even unto the end in the faith for the Lord, in which he preceded them as a good leader, for, according to the testimony of Eusebius, he was finally nailed on a piece of wood and cast into a flaming fire, and thus died a blessed death. Further particulars concerning the death of Pionius, according to the accounts given by different authors. We shall endeavor to be as brief as possible, and, instead of relating all that pertains to this, present only the last acts of his death. When the governor, after much had been said on both sides, said to Pionius, "Why dost thou make such great haste to meet death?" Pionius answered, "I do not make haste to meet death, but life." Then said the governor, "Thou dost not act wisely thus to hasten to meet death. Thou art like those who, despising death, for the sake of a little gain, offer themselves to fight with the beasts. But since thou despisest death so much, thou shalt be burned alive." This sentence of death was read to him from a tablet inscribed with Roman letters. "We have sentenced Pionius to be burned alive, because he has confessed that he is a Christian." Having thus been sentenced, Pionius was brought to the place where he was to be burned. There he divested himself of his clothes, and having looked at his naked body, he cast up his eyes to heaven, praising and thanking God for having kept him, to this hour, free and unspotted from the idols. With this he voluntarily went and lay down on the firewood, stretched himself over it, and delivered himself to the soldiers to be nailed to the wood. When he was fastened to the wood, the servant said to him, "Be converted, and alter your views, and we shall remove the nails." Pionius answered, "I feel that they are in already." And reflecting a little, he said to God, "Therefore, O Lord, do I hasten to death, that I may rise the sooner, or the more glorious." Having been nailed on the cross, he was raised up with his face towards the east, when a great heap of wood had been collected, with which, to burn him, he closed his eyes for some time, so that the people thought that he had already died. However, he prayed secretly in his heart, for when he had finished his prayer he opened his eyes, and all at once the flames shot up to a great height, just as with a glad countenance he uttered the last word of his trust, saying, "Amen, O Lord, receive my soul." And calmly, and without manifesting the least sign of pain, he gave his spirit over to the hands of God. This happened when Julius Proculus Quintilianus was proconsul of Asia, and Emperor Mqt. Decius was consul for the third, and Gratus for the second time, at Rome in A.D. 254, by virtue of the seventh persecution under Emperor Decius at Smyrna in Asia Minor.